I'm not looking
Hello
for
and welcome everyone to Cybercast Episode 98, the Transformer Video Podcast. We are running about 17 minutes late, so I apologize about that. Google has decided that they want to change this whole new thing, and they don't give you any indication that they're changing it or updating it, or hey, this is what you have to do new. No instructions. It's just always hey, figure it out yourself. So that's why we're running a little bit late. So apologize about that, but hopefully they fix it because this is kind of complicated the way that it's set up. But
Yeah.
anyways, we got a pretty good show for you guys today. We got plenty of topics. We got some movie news and some sad news as well as involving G1. So we'll kind of get into that. But we have a lot of info we want to get into here at the beginning. So Jaim, you want to kick it off and tell them about the shows and where they can find you?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, VictorySaber77. We do have a couple of other shows. We have the Aftercast, which will be on my channel at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, so it's a couple hours after the Cybercast. And we also have the eBay show, which airs once a month, and it will be airing this coming Thursday, March 19th. So 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on G1 Extron's channel, so check that out. And we also have some guests lined up. Next week we will have Derek J. Wyatt and Josh Perez on the show, so that's going to be awesome on the Cybercast. And then the following week, March 28th, we're going to have Omnigonics on the show, the third-party company that's giving us the spin-out, or AKA, they're not Masterpiece Sunstreaker. And we'll get some questions answered there and kind of take a little bit closer look at it. We also have on G1 Extron's Facebook channel, the G1 Extron Facebook channel, Facebook page, excuse me. He has the RID episodes streaming there, all 8 episodes that have been released so far. And thanks to Karyudu fan subs, so definitely thank you for doing that. And check out their Facebook page because they've done a lot of great stuff doing the translating some of the great Japanese Transformer cartoons into giving us some good, decent subs and stuff like that. So they did a great job on Car Robots and also Micron Densetsu, so really cool. And our collection spotlight, which we do encourage you guys, if you want your collection spotlighted on the Cybercast, to just email Josh at g1extron@gmail.com. Just give him a couple of 10 to 20 pictures, and then just tell us who you want to be called by, either your real name, Twitter name, alias, whatever, and we'll spotlight you on the Cybercast. And today we are going to be checking out Manuel Santiago's The Watchers collection. So I'm going to take a look at that, and I think that's it. My end.
One little thing to add to that. Since we're going to be taking a look at them and like screen sharing them here, just want to try to make sure that they're as focused as possible. I'm not telling you to go out there and buy an HD camera if you don't have one, but you just want to make sure that they're as focused as possible. You can tell if they're like really blurry. If they are, just try to retake them. So that way they're a little bit easier to see. Also, it doesn't have to be just Transformers. It can be your entire collection. We want to keep it 10 to 20 unless it's just you have a massive collection. We just want to kind of keep away from doing like a picture of each individual figure. That's all I can think about on that for the moment. Got a couple other things that we want to kind of get into. One thing that is sad news. Just a few weeks ago we had Leonard Nimoy passed away. Well, this week, Jeff Hell, which he dies at age 92. He was the animation director for the G1 Transformers cartoon. So, pretty sad there, but 92 years, man, that's pretty good. I can only, it's pretty long.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is pretty long. It's pretty good.
A couple other things as far as movies. Before we get into that, do you want to kind of address any questions that we had in the chat? I know one of them was Star Wars and movie related, and that kind of goes into what we're going to talk about here in a second before we get into the news.
So do you want to wait on the film question, or do you want to hit that? Like Sandstorm212 says, what's both of your views on the TMNT film that was released, and what's your views on the new Star Wars that's coming up in December? Or do you want to go into having... Actually, let's answer MP collector's question really quickly. Have
Okay.
you two made any attempts to get, I'm going to butcher that name, Fans Toys on the show? I saw you participate in an email with Bobby Skullface over email.
I
Take
I
that.
just don't think it'll be that good for the show. That's the thing with a lot of the third-party companies is a huge majority of them don't know English, and one, it's really hard to match up time zones and stuff like that too, because it's like really early in the morning, you know, while they should be sleeping, whenever it's 6 p.m. Central Standard Time here. I know a lot of you guys that live overseas. You're watching. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, where some of you guys are, and definitely appreciate you guys tuning in live and watching whenever you can. But a lot of them they're busy with their stuff, and to get them set with a date, and then also there's the language barrier. The only thing I know is English. I wouldn't even say I'm very good at Spanish, so it just kind of makes it hard. And the way this show works, I just feel like if we were just reading an email back and forth, I don't know how entertaining that would be for you guys. So I'd rather kind of stick to the live guest.
Yeah, and he actually corrected himself. He said, I made a mistake above. I meant to say that Fans Toys participated in an interview over email. Bobby Skullface read the emails on YouTube in a mock interview format. But still, it would be nice to actually get the actual person on the show and being able to just, because I feel like I want to be credible. We are, credible, but I don't want to be reading something that, we don't really have the proof, there, kind of, in a way. And I don't want that speculation also there.
Want to actually have it from from their mouth.
Yeah.
So, that's basically what we're seeing. What was the other thing as far as the movie stuff? Ninja Turtles and Star Wars?
Yeah, what was our take on the new TMNT film, and how about the new Star Wars coming up in December?
I've got opposite opinions on the two. The TMNT film, I didn't like it at all. It wasn't Ninja Turtles to me. I didn't really like anything about them. I didn't like the way that they looked. There was too much CGI. Foot soldiers. They're like terrorists. They're not ninjas. And Shredder and his like Robo Super Shredder thing. I'm just a fan of the old style, the way that they did them. I think what was it, 89, 92 or something like that. Like early 90s, basically. I like that. And the Jim Henson, the puppets. It's just something about some of the movies back then in the 80s, 90s, to where you could actually, whenever you saw Predator, it was actually a costume, like a very detailed, to where if you saw it, you're like, oh, that guy's there. To where today, as good as CGI is, it still makes it look like, oh, that's not really there, and you can tell certain things are green screen, even though it's done really well, and it costs a lot of money, but I like that realism of it being there, so that's why I didn't like that. Star Wars, every time I see that preview of the new Star Wars movie, I just, my heart starts, going a little bit, harder, and I'm excited about it. You're bringing back some of the old, actors and stuff like that, and I didn't like, the first, or episodes 1 through 3, but, the original trilogy, love it. So hopefully it's going back to more of that.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on the Turtles. And for me, the Turtles, I get that you're trying to reinvent it in a way, but since we have a constant cartoon of the Turtles, constantly out there, I don't know, I don't really like the take on it. It could have been better. I think it was rushed. I think it was something that was just not really thought out outright. But as far as the Star Wars, I do like it. I like the fact that we're finally getting a continuation into the future. I mean, we've all read probably some of the Dark Horse comic books and such, so we kind of know what's going on, but it's nice to finally see it on screen, and to see, this is a different company now. This is Disney doing it, and it's going to be really kind of cool to see how they're going to be taking it, and just with all the new special effects too. You can go a little bit too much, but I think it's going to look really good.
And yeah, Disney. I mean, first thing whenever you think about Disney, or at least us in the '80s, we thought about Mickey Mouse and Goofy and stuff like that, and Mickey Mouse Club, and today, whenever you think about Disney, you're thinking about Marvel, the Avengers, Captain America, and stuff like that, and you love those movies. Those are obviously huge box office hits, and um, I think that they're going to kind of do the same thing with this, to where it's going to be really successful. So.
Yeah, it will be.
They wouldn't have spent all that money on it if they. I mean, we've got some more that kind of leads into some movie news that we had. Star Wars Rogue One. It's going to be the first standalone Star Wars film. This is going to expand on characters and events beyond the core Star Wars saga. So it's kind of like they have the new cartoon on Disney XD to where it's Star Wars Rebels. That really doesn't have. You don't see like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and stuff like that. You have like a new set.
Oh, you do. Vader showed up.
Oh, dude, I hadn't seen it.
Just saying he did.
Oh, well, so far it's kind of like this own like side thing. It's not really, what I've seen so far. So I guess I'm about a week or maybe two behind, but it hasn't centered around those original characters. So it's kind of like a side thing, and I'm interested in seeing that. It's going to come out, I believe, release date is December 16th of 2016. So you're going to have a episode 7 and, towards the end of 2015. You're going to have a movie in 2016 towards the end. And then Star Wars episode 8 is going to be released on May 26th of 2017. So, I mean, it looks like we're going to get one a year. They're going to do, from the original, saga, and then they're going to do kind of like their standalone saga, standalone, and keep on doing it. And I think they plan on making plenty of them. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, the whole Rogue Squadron was I think a novel, and then a comic book, and then we got the games on like the N64 and stuff like that, and the GameCube, and it's kind of nice to see that kind of aspect more of like, I'm sure it's going to star more of like Wedge and some of those characters. And yeah, I like that. I mean, like Shadows of the Empire, that takes place between, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. I kind of like that if they would do maybe a movie onto that kind of aspect. But yeah, I think it's finally they're doing something outside of the realm of your typical Star Wars. And I think there's a lot of characters, a lot of potential that is out there. So it's really cool that Disney's doing that.
All right, and a couple other nerdy movies. These are the only ones that we try to, bring up to you guys with, stuff us geeks like or nerds like, whatever you want to call yourself, Jay. But Ghostbusters, we announced this a while back. They're going to have an all-female cast Ghostbusters movie. This is going to release on July 22nd, 2016, so we already knew about that one. But the new news for this week is they're also going to do an all-male cast. So you're going to have 2 different Ghostbusters. And this one's going to start production in 2017, and also helping produce it is Channing Tatum, which is also probably going to be in the film. And then it's rumored that because he's good friends with Chris Pratt, he's trying to get him on. So 2 of the 4 Ghostbusters are probably going to be Channing Tatum and Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Now, if 2 Ghostbuster films weren't enough, remember, like, a year ago, this like Ghostbusters was like dead in the water. Like, man, we keep on trying to do it. We can't agree to bring it up and do it again. They are planning on making 4 total upcoming Ghostbuster films. So the 2 that I mentioned, and then like another 2. Don't know what they're going to be. So,
well, are they going to interrelate to each other? You think?
Well, that's getting past the facts, because these are the facts I don't wanted to bring. But the person that broke the story on it, then they started kind of like their speculation, like, hey, maybe one will be like a prequel to this, and then this one will be a sequel to this. And I'm like, well, now we're getting to speculation. And
okay.
So those are I just wanted to bring the facts, and that's what we try to do. Before we get into the topics and the news, any more questions before we get into the collection spotlight?
We did have a question, if you want to tackle this real quickly. It's about the Combiner Wars. MP Collector does the upcoming Combiner Wars Devastator suggest that it will be a very long time before we get a Devastator in the Masterpiece line?
Ooh. Well, I think that, Hasbro Takara has done a really good job on like separating the two. Uh, just because you get one thing, doesn't mean like with their Ultra Magnus is a good example. It like even if they came out with that new IDW style Ultra Magnus that we saw at Toy Fair, that wouldn't have anything to do with them releasing Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? So they recognize them as well as good as the IDW one looks. It's still not the masterpiece, even though some people might even think it is. But there's a certain quality and a kind of a certain look that they try to keep with the masterpiece, and that's for a collector. And while the other stuff, is kind of a collector, it's in a different category. So they really don't ever try to mix them together. If you kind of get what I'm saying, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Takara would be the one doing the masterpiece figures instead of Hasbro. As far as the design, because that's it, the masterpiece is underneath Takara, and whatever that Hasbro decides to release as an exclusive here in the United States, they choose from what the existing molds are already. But yeah, I don't see them. I mean, it's a coincidence that we got, obviously Masterpiece, Ultra Magnus, and then all of a sudden Hasbro announces, hey, you're getting a leader class, IDW style Ultra Magnus in the Combiner Wars. I don't see a Devastator. I mean, just because Hasbro doing a ton of Combiner Wars stuff, I don't really see, Takara saying, we're going to bring out a Masterpiece Combiner. I see Hasbro doing the Combiner Wars saying, third parties, hey, we're now doing our Combiner Wars stuff to catch up to you since we're kind of 2 years behind you, but we're finally catching up and we're kind of competing with the third party realm. But other than that, I don't see a Masterpiece Devastator in the works.
There's something else that I'm trying to find and bring up. I know I shared it on my page, but I just noticed that.
I do think Devastator would be the first Masterpiece Combiner, though, just because of how kind of iconic how it debuted in the show as the first one. So I would assume Takara would actually go that route.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the screen share with you guys. First thing we're going to do is take a look at our collection spotlight. Is that working? Come on. There we go. All right, so this is, let's see, yeah. All right, this is from Manuel Santiago, also known as the Watcher. And he's got a couple of pictures of his art here, but I believe he said that he's mostly collecting Masterpiece stuff or like third parties that can go with his Masterpiece. So he's taking a lot of really cool pictures here.
So that artwork that we just saw was his artwork that he did?
No, like...
just that he has, okay.
Yeah, that he has.
Oh, all right.
Part of his collection, so. Quite a
Cool.
few stickers there.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Starscream. Let me know, are these things any good? Because I'd like to get this 6 shot. I saw it online, and I was like, I just don't... Is it worth it? I think they're like 10 or 15 bucks or something like that. And there's a nice mix right there, third parties, Masterpiece, so those all look good. Looks like he's got some add-ons in there. Both versions of Quakewave.
Yep.
And the Impossible Toys. That was the best thing Impossible Toys ever did, was the Quintessons, in my opinion.
Yeah. There hasn't been really any other company that's dove right smack into the Quintessons, giving us that many variety of them. So, yeah.
It's a pretty cool picture right there. Got both, I believe his name is Invisible. Those actually those scale up pretty nicely.
Brawny and Bumblebee and all that.
Yeah.
Really do wish iGear would reissue those cone heads.
Yeah, or
Hasbro hasn't done this yet.
Hasbro come out. It's a lot of primes too. God, I still need to get that Nemesis prime. It's a nice shot.
Mm.
That's cool too. Cause he's kind of doing all the the black and purple. He did. When was it, Decepticon?
Change G2. Nice. Sideswiping it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it works. So.
Yeah. You're the goat, Soundwave. Toys Kronos looks pretty good there, as far as scale wise.
Well, thanks a lot for sharing with us, man. I mean, it's a really nice collection.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into one cell. I just realized that I never sent out this stuff, so we just won't bother with it. One cell that I wanted to bring up, the Star Wars Black Line series speeder bike. Last week we reported that it was going to be 1808, and that is online. They don't have that showing it off in store, but they will price match. It's gone up to 2308, but still pretty cheap. So, and if they have it in store and it shows that it's in stock online, then they will price match this for you guys in store. All right, this is from Yexel's Toy Museum. This is a life-size Optimus Prime.
That's cool.
Or the bust is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not the whole thing. Jeez. It'd be like the Statue of Liberty, to where you could go up and.
It's pretty cool. It's something I'd like to see at Universal Studios.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. So just wanted to kind of show that off. Everything we're taking a look at today is found on Facebook page, the G1 Hextron, if you guys want to go check it out. Thundercracker, getting some in-hand images of him, the leader class one. Like little father and son. So.
Yeah, there you go. Still on the fence with those. I don't know. If they were going to release, as in Hasbro, we're going to release the cone heads, maybe, I'd probably would buy them. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if you got the Megatron, the G1 looking leader class Megatron, it's kind of nice for these guys to be in there.
Yeah, because they already said they're coming out with Starscream. It's always like Skywarp. You need that last confirmation, but they're they're going to come out with all three of them.
Yeah.
If you got that that Megatron, and then you get these three, I mean, those look really cool together.
Yeah. I do wish that they'd make a Soundwave. But that's cool.
And the little dudes. Very short news week this week, but hopefully we got some good topics, and if you guys have questions or topics, we'll address those as well. Little information. This is from Big Bad Toy Store. Email regarding Takara MP-23 Exhaust. Hello, we regretfully must announce that all pre-orders for exhausts have been canceled. There has been an ongoing legal problem with this figure due to the trademark Marlboro roof hood designs that was not approved for sale in the U.S. Takara modified the original design and went into production using the modified paint deco. It appears the redesigned paint deco did not go far enough to fix the problem. Philip Morris USA will still not allow this item for sale in the U.S. We have been in contact with a law firm representing Philip Morris, and they told us that the changes were not subtle enough to eliminate potential consumer confusion. Yes.
Right.
Between Marlboro's trademark design and the current paint deco of exhaust. We apologize for the problem. Blah, blah, blah. So, here's the thing. If you kind of pick a couple of things out of the email, is Takara's Masterpiece exhaust coming out? Yes. Is it going to be sold to the U.S.? No. That's not just Big Bad Toy Store or your TF Source or what, any of these places sold here, but even your like overseas, like Hobby Link Japan or Robot Kingdom, any of those places like that. As far as I'm aware, I did hear Robot Kingdom say that they would ship the exhaust or whatever, but whenever I went to go look for it, it wasn't there anymore. So it looks like that's been corrected. But overseas can't ship to the U.S. So the only way that I can kind of see a loophole around this to get an exhaust, if you want it officially licensed, that you got somebody in Japan and you're like, hey man, I'll PayPal you the money, they go buy it, and you just trust them, send it out to you. So
Great.
That's the only way that I can think of that you're going to be able to get your hands on one. I don't even know how eBay would work with this, because we'll see whenever it's released. If it is, then it's going to be extremely expensive. It's going to be one of those things that exhaust is, even though like I don't collect, knockoff Masterpiece figures, this is one that it's just going to have to be a knockoff. I'm not going to pay like $300 or $400 on secondary market for whatever they're going to ask for exhaust. Got a couple friends in Japan, so I don't know. Maybe I can work something out with them, but I don't know. So
yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I think that's just really piss poor on Philip Morris's part, but I understand their point of view. I just don't get the fact that. I mean, I don't know. It seems ridiculous. It's a toy, and it's an adult collector toy in a way when it hits U.S. shores, unlike it is at just normal retail in Japan. But I don't know. It's unfair, and it's going to be, like you said, going for at least double bare minimum. I think if we see it in the secondary market, but we'll see what happens.
I really hope that it's going to be one of those things, since they can't sell it to U.S. and there's obviously a large U.S. market for the Masterpiece figures. I mean, there's just a lot of us. I don't know anything about UK area, UK area, or Europe, or the Asia, or Australia, or anything like that. All I picked up on is it's not going to be available for us in the U.S. here in the States. So. Because it's Philip Morris USA that's got the problem with it and doing with all this legal stuff. So, obviously, however many are being made, they'll probably all go to Japan, and hopefully they'll just have like a ton of stock, and maybe we can get one for a decent price. Who knows? But it is getting made. That's what a lot of people were asking. Is it getting made or is it not getting made? So,
yeah. I'm still hoping that the companies over there will ship it, hopefully, because what are they going to do? Have a picture at customs when it comes through or something to that nature? Philip Morris is not going to know, but in-base U.S. retail, they can go after, but they can't go after someone overseas. That, to me, is just not right.
Yeah, I don't know how it's working. Like, I know that Hobby Link, they weren't able to sell to U.S. Like, they even have something like, I think on their website, where when you click on the item, I think it said something like, can't go to the U.S. or whatever. So you'll automatically be refunded. So I was like, ugh, that kind of sucks. Anyways, before we get into the tracks here, I wanted to bring up something that the Chosen Prime put on their Facebook page related to Masterpiece. They put a picture of the G1 blue streak, and they said that something about Masterpiece, and they were like, we're getting all the details together, but we're going to have some Masterpiece information on this guy. And I was like, okay, I haven't heard it from anyone else. It was just the Chosen Prime. They are a dealer, or an online dealer. So, I follow them, and as soon as we get more information, we'll obviously bring it to you guys. But that's something that you and I have been kind of asking for a while, is a Masterpiece Blue Streak. We obviously wanted that one before we got a Silver Streak. Like, I don't know who really wanted that one, but this is probably going to be some kind of Japan exclusive thing, kind of like a Tiger Track.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those things. So it's going to be one of those a little bit more limited. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but we'll get it. And you'll be able to order it probably from wherever you want. So
That's cool. Yeah, the Silver Streak one really. When we heard that there was going to be a new, Blue Streak, we're thinking the Blue Streak, but then it came out, and then that thing hasn't sold. I mean, I think that's clearanced at some e-tailers. It just wasn't.
Don't even get it.
I mean, yeah, it's nice. I mean, if you want, like, eHobby did their rendition of the Silver Streak, but it's like, I don't know. It seems like Takara missed it by trying to go that route instead of the Blue Streak. Tiger Track's fantastic, but yeah, I don't know.
It's another one I need to get. That's my goal for 2015 is like doing all my Masterpiece catch up. So. All right, now getting into this guy, since we've been staring at him for a while. Some new images of tracks, and kind of see everything he's going to be coming with. Get a nice look at that face right there, which I actually like quite. I was seeing if there was a faceplate on one of those guys, but I don't see it. We see them all painted up.
Yeah.
Very nice looking.
Yeah, I do like it.
And obviously Stingray right here. Flight mode. I mean, this is very G1 as far as the flight mode goes. Now, there might be some younger viewers that are thinking, well, they don't know much about G1, but they're like, okay, I know tracks because I bought the Generations or Universe or whatever. They're like, well, this is cool, but wish they didn't have this. That's the way that you kind of had the G1. So I like this little extra little gimmick right here too.
Yeah, I just missed the missile pods, the thrusters or whatever that they had in the original G1 toy, but it does look good. It's nice that they incorporated that.
Oh, it would be nice if the wheels kind of flapped in, And the stand. So, I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's our boy, Raul.
Yeah, it's too bad. They should have come up with maybe two different legs for him. So one has him like kind of doing some breakdance, and the other one's standing or something like that.
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted one like Spike. That way that, I was going to have him breakdancing on like a little tiny piece of cardboard. That's the way that I wanted to have him and display him. This way, I'm like, well, I can't do anything with that, man.
Yeah.
It's a missed opportunity. All right, getting into the third-party news, DX9 is coming out with. I'm going to think that that's Kari, but it may be Carrie.
Let's just go Carrie.
Carrie. Let's call him Carrie.
Let's call him Carrie.
But obviously, their Rodimus is going to be 24.4 centimeters tall. What is that in inches? About, what is that, like 15 or something? No, that's not.
Yeah, he's about as tall as MP10. People should know how big the MP10 is. So.
Says he's going to have metal feet, rubber tires, and plating pipeline. So I guess they just mean chrome pipeline here. Pipeline.
Cool.
And getting a nice look at him.
I actually kind of like this. I mean, with the amount of issues that are plagued with the original Masterpiece Rodimus, I mean, unless you get that second release, but even trying to get a second release can be kind of expensive and a lot of sellers on eBay don't really realize what they have at times. This isn't too bad, and it's priced at a decent, what is it, like 165, I think, pre-order? Not too bad.
I didn't check out the pre-order, but I mean, he doesn't look too bad.
And I do like the wings being kind of a little bit larger.
It's very kind of Japanese anime style.
Yeah.
And you see the gun that he came with, his rifle, and then also Target Master. So I wasn't completely wrong whenever I said this is going to be a Target Master. So.
Yeah. But the picture wasn't of the Target Master, though.
No, it was not, but it did come with one.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see him there with MP10. And I've got a few additional pictures as far as Target Master. Bam, there you go. So
that's cool.
Because I got the Toys R Us Hot Rod, and then I've got the Black Convoy for Rodimus. But the little Hot Rod, he came with Firebolt. Yeah. One of his knees is he's got 2 left knees. So he can't transform properly, and I'm just like, man, what do I do here now? So. It's something I didn't figure out until I bought them at BotCon and I never opened them up because I don't want to deal with all that. And when I got home, I didn't even open them up for 4 or 5 months. And when I finally did, I was like, man, what is this crap? Taking this back to Toys R Us.
Yeah, there you go.
And if you want to kind of see all the shifting here. This was done by Lazy. Oh, there it is. Lazy Oz or something. But you can kind of see what goes where. Pretty cool. And this is from Gigapower. The next guy you're going to be getting is Grasser. Basically your slug.
Where do they come up with these names?
At least it's easy to pronounce, and it's not something that's just extremely hard.
Me Gutter, me Grassor. Who's going to be the next one? I don't know.
And for why do they do this? Come on, you gave us this. Why is this one blurry? But
oh well.
If you can make anything out there.
Not too bad.
And from Play With This 2, they're going to do recolor this to make it kind of a swoop colored looking one.
It'd be kind of cool to get every single one of their products just to see all the variations that you can get.
You can do a lot of mix and matching. Kind of come up with some of your own ideas as far as different characters.
Because that one looks good. I mean, it's based off of their Grimlock, and then or not Grimlock.
Right.
But then they have Wasteland, which is their not, Dinobot looking color one. Pretty cool.
Especially whenever they come out with all the little headshots as well.
Yeah.
Then you can come up with some pretty creative stuff. All right, and getting into the add-ons now. Chosen Prime said that this was done by X2 Toys, and they were the first ones to put it up. And then TS Source said that this was done by SXS. So I assume one of them. So I'm not going to say it's either or, but what you do get is new open face here for B. You get this little radar thing. I'm not really sure what that is, and then a little communication that plugs into that hole there.
Okay.
Because I know some people like to kind of accessorize their masterpiece. Me, I just don't bother with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that option and stuff, but yeah, I've just never taken the time to.
Maybe if you do dioramas or something like that, it'd be kind of cool.
But I'm not a huge Bumblebee fan either, so it's not like I'd want him to Have all that.
Can't see it on the picture, so it really serves no purpose here. But the other thing that either X2 Toys or SXS or whoever's making them, I guess we'll find out soon enough. They are going to make die-cast shoulder joints and then also a longer gun. What you got with this guy? So
I've heard a lot of people complaining about the size of his gun not being as long. I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, poor Magnus, man.
You know.
All right, and the
second best.
last thing is Bellformers. I'm sorry. If you wanted to make your Combiner Wars drag strip look a little bit more G1, they've got a little kind of like, I guess, kind of a Shapeways type thing here. Obviously not final, but to me, you know, I'm cool with just having it the way that it is because all the other figures that you're getting, like your Breakdown and your Dead End, you know, they're all stylized anyway.
Yeah.
So why does drag strip need to be G1? Well, the other ones aren't very G1, you know, so.
Yeah. I look at it as the fact that these are an updated look for G1 characters like that Megatron.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with it not having, having to have the 6 wheels.
Yeah, I actually kind of prefer it just looking normal, but.
If I needed 6 wheels, I'd buy the original G1.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorted there, so. I can't wait to get the add-on pieces for Superion. By Perfect Effect, I'm gonna get those two things. It widens the chest, and then you can put in a piece here, and you get a new head, and then also hands and feet. They're gonna be white. So that was kind of the one thing that was wanting me to get the Takara. The paint apps are cool, but I almost wanted to get the car just because for the white hands and feet plate. But I knew I was gonna want third-party add-ons anyway, so it'll work for me. The Hasbro one will.
Kind of a weird way of displaying Superion there with all their add-on stuff with no legs. There you go. But
Poor guy.
Served its purpose. So was that the gun that you were talking about that they're releasing that he had in his hand for Ultra Magnus?
No.
Just
I don't know what that was. So.
Okay. Just curious.
All right, Jaim, what do we got for questions and comments, man?
We have Steve Cass. A question: do you think we will get a Combiner Wars Omega Supreme figure? Fans Toys are hinting at making Omega, but would be expensive. I haven't heard anything about Omega. Have you?
No. Fans Toys? Oh, I haven't heard. No, I haven't heard anything like that. So.
Haven't heard anything from Hasbro or anybody about Omega. I mean, there was a third party a while back that was thinking about doing Omega Supreme, but I think they went belly up. They were also going to do
Machine Boy.
Yeah.
That was thinking about doing a Mega Supreme, and they said that they were going to do Diatlas and Skylynx. Yes. Yeah. They never made it past releasing the little pencil-lined outlines and stuff like that. So. It happens. That's kind of why we, got away from showing like silhouettes from like new companies, unless it's someone like established, like Fans Project or Make Toys, where they're like, here's a silhouette of this or a mock-up of this, and we're like, okay, this is probably going to happen. Not obviously Mastermind Creations Overlord, because I remember the last time that I, talked to them. About it. I brought it up twice to them. When is this coming out? And they're just like, yeah, there hasn't been really any plans. We haven't done anything with that since that picture released like over a year ago. So
yeah, I wonder if it's because also what was that BTS Toys, who was going to come out with their Overlord that was supposed to be really large.
It was going to be big. It was going to be the biggest third-party Transformer. It was also going to have light-up features. It was going to have the God Masters. To give you an idea, I don't know how recent, some of you guys are into seeing what's going on with third-party stuff and seeing some of the stuff that never made it. But if you looked at the G.I. Joe Retaliation, the Night Raven, and how large that thing was, that was going to be the ship, or the jet for that Overlord. And then he was still going to have like a tank that would also like turned into, I forgot what else it turned into. It turned into something else, like a boat or something. I forget. But I mean, it was huge, and it was going to have light up features, all that good stuff, and it made it all the way to, they had it up for pre-order, and they had the prototypes, and we had looked at them, and it turned into a base and everything, which looked pretty cool, and it just, the way that they looked at it is, and when we kind of discovered something, that a lot of the online retailers, whenever they put something up on pre-order, finding out how it's going to do and if they really want to go through with securing stock to provide for the customers is how it does and how it, how many pre-orders it gets in its first like 5 days to a week. So first 5 to 7 days, if it's not like they're not blown away with like pre-orders and people, it's in high demand, but if, they're not going to do it. So, and then that kind of shuts down the idea of, third-party companies wanting to come out with the product. So.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because it would have been kind of cool to see an Overlord. I know a lot of fans that I've communicated with when that first came out. I was like, "Oh man, this is my chance to get an Overlord because the G1 is, horribly expensive, and to get one that's articulated and even doesn't compromise in size and all that would be kind of really cool." But yeah, it just, Mastermind Creations may come back with theirs. You never know. We were supposed to get maybe a great shot in a Shadow Maru from that Hexatron mold, but that kind of fizzled away also.
Too busy doing more Hexatrons.
So
let's change the helmet and bam, new Hexatron. Change the chest. There you go, new Hexatron.
Definitely. Next question, Micah Hoffman wants to know, what is your opinion on the new Hasbro Magnus?
Oh yeah, man, that thing looks really good. It's one of those things where it depends on what's coming out, because I have the Masterpiece, and the Masterpiece is like my main thing, and I've got my third-party kind of chug style shelf. And I don't kind of collect it all. It's just if I really like it, then I'll pick it up, and that's probably going to fall into the category of if I've got money, then. And see it in stores, it'll be one of those impulse buys. That's not that I don't like it, because I absolutely love it. I think it looks fantastic. But I've already got, the Masterpiece Magnus, and then I've also got the Fans Project Magnus that, I like it. I may sell it, I may not. I don't know on that yet, but I collect so many different things, and we're going to talk about going down the rabbit hole and so many different toy lines and collecting a little bit later on. It's going to be our last topic, but it's one of those things. There's just so many things we collect that it's going to have to be, I got the money for it, and, impulse buy it. For me personally.
For me, I'll buy it. So when it comes out, I'll snatch it up, just because I'm also a chug collector too, and can't have too many Ultra Magnus, I guess. So.
Oh, you're one of those guys.
Yeah, I just collect everything. I just want to have everything.
One steps, bathtub toy.
No, I haven't gone that route, but I did.
Titans.
I did pick up, which I'll talk about in the aftercast, but I did pick up an RID figure, and it is really crappy.
Is it one of the bathtub toys? Those Titans? Because it always looks like those Titans that they sell. You guys know what I'm talking about. They like make Marvel stuff. They Transformers. It looks like something that we had in the 80s, to where you could pop the head off and then unscrew it, and then like your shampoo's in there.
Yep.
That's what we basically have now.
I bought the deluxe size. I bought the deluxe size Prime. So I thought, what the hell?
Oh, I saw that in store. I looked at it for a moment.
I looked at it and I was like, what the hell? I just threw it in the cart, impulse buy. Got it home, took it out. Yeah, I'll talk about it on the aftercast, but I may do a review of it just to make fun of it. But we'll see. I don't know.
I took it off the shelf and I looked at it, and then I was like, you know what? He needs to be with his friends, and so I put him back on the peg with his Bumblebee and whatever guys. So, what else, man?
Let's see here. Question by MP Collector. When we get a KO exhaust, do you think the paint scheme will be closer to what the earlier exhaust renders looked like, or do you think it will be an exact copy of the release version of MP-23?
It's a good question, and you know what? I really hope that it's going to be the original look that we saw, and because here's the way KO companies, work: is they see this is coming out, they get the wheel jack mold, they see that exhaust is going to come out, and then they just start working on it. They start working on it, doing the reverse engineering, and so they can come out with theirs. Now, again, it's the same thing that it's a Philip Morris Marlboro USA thing that they don't want it here. And as we know, like the KOs coming out of China factories, they just don't care. Like they're ripping off Hasbro Takara stuff, mainly Takara, and coming out with their stuff and just knocking it off all the time. G1 stuff, Masterpiece stuff, just hey, if you make it, hey, we're gonna knock it off and make it cheaper. It's gonna be poor quality. But it's an option out there for people that like to collect that stuff. I don't know why they would be like, hey, if we don't care that we're coming out here and they're already breaking the law basically. Why not go the full route?
Yeah, I see them probably. I don't know. It depends on the design of who does it. If they're trying to do it just a straight up KO, they're probably just going to leave it. I would buy it if they came out with the original look and it actually came in a kind of mock-up cigarette box. I mean, it doesn't just
throw it in their face.
Just throwing it in Philip Morris's face, and I'd be like, I would love that, but yeah, they're probably gonna do just a straight up KO, like not gonna change up the actual look. Just because they would have to go back, because since Takara is changing it already, I don't know.
Well, you know what? You may be right, because that's probably one we haven't seen one already.
Yeah.
Or that them starting to like, hey, this is we got word that they're starting to do that, because their whole thing is we want to look like the one coming out. So yeah, you're probably right. I'd rather have the first release though.
Oh, I would
the original idea. And you'd be able to identify it easier. That's one thing that the KO, I think that those will be more expensive than some of the other KOs, just because, for especially us here in the States, they'll be like, dude, those Americans, they can't get this. So.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see, anything else we got? Not seeing anything else. Oh, no, we got one.
Oh.
Question, Chevytron951. Would you guys like to see a Transformers animated series based on any IDW comic stories? That'd be yes.
Yeah, I mean, anything animated, that's probably a question good for next week, because we're going to have Derek J. Wyatt on, so... and, as well as Josh Perez. So
I think he meant cartoon.
Cartoon?
Yeah. And if not, like, I don't know if he meant animated series, like the Transformers animated, or would you like to see an IDW comic book turn into an animation?
Turn into a cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about, like, done in, like, Transformers animated or something. I don't know. Yeah, man, I mean, I'd watch it. Any of the Transformers like cartoon movies, I enjoy watching them. It's the same thing whenever DC releases like all their like direct to DVD or whatever movies. I watch those. Like I sat through the whole thing with that name, so I mean I'd watch it. So I'm sorry, I misunderstood the question.
Oh no, I mean he could go either way. I mean, again, we are going to have Derek J. White on next week along with Josh Perez. And
Yes. So, you guys have any animated stuff you want to talk about, or comic stuff, or Transformer art? Then definitely. Hit us up. You can put your questions after this goes in video form, and it'll kind of save it then. It won't save it in the comments if you put it in the chat right now. But after it goes in video form, put it up there, and then we will write them down and cover it whenever they come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely would love to see. We've talked about this numerous times on the Cybercast Aftercast. If we get those one-shots of like Last Stand of the Wreckers or any type of IDW story that's not downgraded to the Rescue Bots in a way. Even though the Rescue Bots is entertaining, our ID is going to be entertaining, but we kind of want that adult-themed. Since we can get that in the comic book world, why can't we get that kind of in the Transformers world a little bit? We saw that a little bit in G.I. Joe and Renegades. Not Renegades, but Resolute, that little one-shot movie that they did. It would be kind of cool if they could kind of implement that into Transformers a little bit.
I think it'd be extremely successful. You sell it DVD, Blu-ray everywhere. People are going to buy it. Streaming stuff like that. People will buy it. So they did with the Transformer Prime whenever they came out. Like here's kind of like the movie or whatever. It was basically like 3 episodes into one. But
yeah, and it could help comic book sales too. I mean, I don't personally read a lot of the comic books, but if some of the stories actually were fleshed out into an animation series, I'd be more inclined to I want to further that and maybe go and start reading some of them or backtracking some of it. But other than that, for questions, that is it.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of topics for you guys. The first one is, from the figures being released today, which ones do you think will demand the most on the secondary market a few years from now, and why them? Jaim, if you want to take it away. And
okay. Stuff that's being released now, I would say, if you're looking at Hasbro, that G1 Megatron-looking leader class figure that they have right now, I think will kind of start going up in price a year from now, just because it's the first kind of G1 Megatron that we've gotten in a long time. That you can count the 2006 Classics version, but that was a Nerf gun that was in odd coloring, and this time you get that really nice paint apps. Just the whole transformation works. The look of it works. It's a really good product. We talked about Springer, the Generation Springer, a long time ago about being one of the best, and Hasbro really doing a really good job. I think they did that with the Megatron. I think it's, for what it's worth, it's a really good, solid product. I see that going up.
Yeah, obviously the Megatron, and I even think the Armada Megatron as well. One thing, these guys, I started seeing them. They're at both my Walmarts right now. I think I saw them at Target as well. So if you haven't, been to your local stores and started kind of looking yet, they are starting to show up. I've already seen them on eBay for $100, a piece. Which, I mean, they're not even like, the whole thing here is we're like, do we think that they'll be expensive on the secondary market a few years from now? When you can't just pick them up in store. They're hard to find, and these are like demanded items. Now, people are like, no, they're going to be expensive now. Even though you can pick them up in store, they haven't even hit everywhere yet. We're going to charge you more than double, $100. And I was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. If I was a scalper, then, because I think it was total in my area, there's been like about 7 or 8 Megatrons. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to do that. So, it's a pain. And asking $100 for something just because, like, hey, you want to be one of the first to get it, pay double. It's just kind of ridiculous. The other thing is with the Armada Megatron is the fact that it's actually got all the little ports, and I think it's the same way on the regular Megatron as well, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually plug on those mini-cons to it, which, anyone that kind of passes on it right now, or maybe they, you get some of the people that maybe they're not into Transformers right now, but back in the day, they were big fans of, Unicron Trilogy and Armada and stuff like that. And they start, working a job, they're working on their own, and they're like, you know what, kind of want to get into this Transformer collecting hobby. It seems pretty cool. And they're like, just like Jaim and I did when we first got into it, we're like, let me capture my childhood. And that was the first thing you do is you get on eBay or you get on YouTube and you watch and you let me look for what did I watch as a kid. And for us it was G1, so we were looking at G1 toys and we're trying to buy G1 toys, and then it kind of evolved and we're looking at third parties, new stuff coming out, Masterpiece, and kind of the collection expands. They'll do the same thing and it'll be with Armada, and then they'll be like, oh, look at this new Armada Megatron, or it won't be new, let's say 3 years from now. Obviously not going to be sold in store, but they'll be like, I want to have that. That's something that I definitely want to have. I think all the people that collected mainly G1 and G2, we're all already older, so, or in our 30s, maybe even 40s or even older than that, to where it's already out there. We're already living our own, we have our own money and jobs and stuff, and if we want it, we'll just buy it right then. So, anything else on that one? I also was thinking some of the Combiner Wars stuff. Maybe not in a few years, but as they keep on releasing third-party add-ons, I think that those, as they get harder to find, and more people are like buying them up because they're scalpers, and the only ones you can find are online, they're double the price. That more people will be willing to pay some of that, a little bit extra money for them, just because they're like, well, I kind of passed on these whenever I saw them, but now that new add-on, set has come out for it, it makes it look so much better that I think I want to get that. And still, by buying those and the add-on, it'll probably be, cheaper than, a full third-party combiner, or obviously it would be. So.
Yeah. MP Collector states MP Star Saber will command big prices in the future, which, yeah, I mean that's pretty obvious with the Takara being a fan's choice and not having a release here in the States. Most likely, that's going to go up in price, especially if they ever get to doing a Victory Leo. That thing will definitely skyrocket, especially if they don't re-release it. But most likely, Takara does do some re-releases. They also stated that the MP Starscream that is being released at Toys R Us will probably go up in price. But
oh yeah,
again, we all see that. Like, you look at the older releases of Optimus Prime, Grimlock, Rodimus, Soundwave especially. Those all skyrocketed. If you're not a Masterpiece fan, but you're thinking about buying Masterpiece, I would definitely jump on board the Toys R Us exclusives. Get them now before you kind of regret it later on, because you're now looking at paying double the price on some of them. But yeah, I think a lot of some of the Combiner Wars stuff, especially Devastator, you're going to be seeing the same type of kind of roller coaster, I think, with Metroplex back in the day. It's going to debut pretty high. He may dip down as far as sales, but then after he's gone and off the shelf, he's going to rise back up in price, just like Metroplex.
Yeah, and then he'll be regretful like me when he was sitting there for $49, and I was like, nah, he's not worth $50.
He ain't worth $50.
Now I don't have one, and I'm like, man, I really kind of want one now. So especially whenever you're talking about this, Masterpiece stuff, that you can pick up at, Toys R Us exclusives. Like Jaim was saying, if you're just on the fence, buy it. Worst case scenario, you decide 6 months from now you don't want it, and then you can resell it. You're not a scalper. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But if you're just a collector and you're like, hey, just kind of on the fence, I don't know if I really want this or not, but it is here. Let me buy it. You decide you end up not wanting it, you can end up selling it and make double money back. So pretty easy on stuff like that. The other thing with Star Saber, we know we get the release here probably in about a week. That'll start hitting stores and your pre-orders will be filled. I think that we'll get a Victory Leo And then, they'll probably do a 2-pack, you think? One huge box. But
That would be a huge box. I mean, they did back in the G1 days. They did do a gift set. It'd be the first time. They did it with their Takara Masterpiece Brave line also. They did a gift box. That was only a Japanese Toys R Us exclusive. And yeah, they could do it. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be big. Really big. And heavy.
Because there will still be people that buy the Star Saber, they'll buy the Victory Leo, and then if they announce that they're coming out with that, there will be people that will buy it even though they already have it, just because, like, hey, it's probably going to be some type of exclusive, if they did do it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, definitely. I would see it having to be an exclusive to, like Toys R Us Japan, like they did with the original Takara, Great X Kaiser set that they did.
Still need Dragon Kaiser. So.
Sorry.
Still missing him. Why do they want so much for him? They only want people online. They only want $100 for X Kaiser. I got him. Why do you want $400 to $500 for Dragon Kaiser?
Jerks. It's really cool. Comes with that huge dragon sword. I love it.
Yeah, one day it's one of those things like we always talk about on the eBay show. It's just like, look, just be patient. Eventually, someone's going to be like, look, man, I need to unload this because my car broke down or something like that, and then there I will be to help them out. I want to help them get their car fixed. I want to help them make rent, feed their faces, whatever. So. All right, we'll move on to the next thing. Is when buying a third-party figure, you have kind of in the back of your head that I like this, but if a better version comes out down the line, I'll sell it. What about you, Jaim?
What? Oh, sorry, I was reading some of the comments there.
Oh, okay. When buying a third-party figure, do you kind of have in the back of your mind whenever a better version comes out that, hey, yeah, I'll definitely sell this, or is it like no, I'm hanging on to this forever, or does it change?
For me, I don't really sell anything, period. So that should answer your question. I mean, like, I'm collecting the Dinobots right now. I'm collecting the Fans Project Dinobots, and I like them, but, once maybe maybe G Creations come out for their Shuriken, or maybe Toy World because they're a combiner, I may end up picking up one of those. But I'm not going to probably get rid of the Fans Project because I'm collecting the Diaclone versions. So, but I could see that happening. I mean, you look at Hexatron, the first edition of Hexatron, really fantastic piece. We all loved it. It came with, the shurikens, the swords, and all that. But the new one that just came out, that's the one I just picked up. It has the chrome. It looks more G1 with the new, chrome weapons. And, it doesn't come with some of the stuff that the original released, but I see the second release a lot more popular just because it really does emulate that G1 six-shot.
Are you talking about the second or the third release? The third release is when they changed the chest.
The third one.
Okay.
Whatever the Continuum, the Hexatron Continuum.
Yeah, so they've released him 4 times.
They've released him like 4 or 5 times. I mean, if you got the Nova one.
Yeah, so 5 times. Hypernova, then the Hexatron, and then you have the second version which just has chrome head, instead there, and like chrome guns, and then the third release where they changed the chest to look more G1 and changed the head as well.
Yeah,
and then you have the Shadow one as well. So 5 out of there, you still can't get a Shadow Maru or Great Show.
But yeah, I'm talking the latest edition of it that looks more G1, that they actually put like better paint apps. They remolded the head and the wings.
Just released another one.
It's like, oh, we're 2 minutes behind. They just released another one. But yeah, I could see actually trading in my first one if I had it to buy that newer one, just because I'm a G1 fanatic. But I mean, what do you think? Would you give let's say Gigapowers, when they come out with their entire line of Dinobots and they're really superb, would you think about maybe getting rid of your Fans toys?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's just kind of a spacing thing. Like, I have this one room. A lot of people, they don't have an entire room to do this hobby. I do, fortunately. But once I run out here, then I've told myself, it's like, look, after this, this closed door, I'm gonna pull up something for you guys too that I think that you'll like. But the rest of my house, it looks normal.
You just need to buy a bigger house, man. You don't shrink the collection, you buy more. You buy a bigger house.
Here, I'll share this with you guys, because you remember whenever I was talking about on Aftercast that I was bringing up, like, hey, I saw 50 Shades of Grey, and, like, what if this and this, and this is how I am, like, if I brought someone over.
Yeah.
Someone ended up, I guess, taking that and making a meme off of what I said, and this is what they did. My desires are unconventional, so show me. She opens the door, and it's just toys
Marvel
in
Universe. Marvel Legends stuff.
Or just the toy room and stuff like that. That's basically how I try to keep it. Is the rest of my house is just like you'd never be able to tell. I don't have like a poster or anything. But when you go in here, I only have so much. Jaim, on the other hand, he's just like, all right, one of you kids is gonna bunk with the other, and then whenever he takes over that room, and then he starts putting shelves in theirs, he's like, all right, you kids are moving out to the garage.
I'm buying the property next door. Just gonna bulldoze it. Sorry for the neighbors, but whatever.
So yeah, it's one of those things like with let's say with the Ultra Magnus. I'm thinking about getting rid of the Fans Project, not because I want to replace it with the IDW, but just because, hey, I got the Masterpiece. That's kind of like my ultimate Ultra Magnus right there, is the Masterpiece version. And while I still like the Fans Project version, I'm like, you know what? I'd like to kind of free up some money there. There's a lot of stuff that I collect now, going down several rabbit holes here, that I need all this extra money for things that I really, really do want, where, with him and like a lot of other figures where I'm like, well, I do like that, but I don't have to have it in my collection anymore. But then you have some figures like Fans Project Brainstorm, and then I got the Generations Brainstorm. I have no plans to sell those Fans Project Headmasters. Absolutely love them. And over the next 15 years, when Fans Project finally gives us the rest of them, I'm going to get those. I'm going to have all those. And by that time, Hasbro finally decided that, hey, you know what, we'll finish the rest of the Headmasters as well. So. Yeah. But like, I didn't see a reason to get rid of him. I'm like, hey, I can have two different versions. They're different heights, even if they're the same height. They're different to me. And it's like I want the original, official release, but I love these Fans Project Headmasters. So there's no way I'm getting rid of them. I'm keeping them. Make Toys Devastator. I'm absolutely keeping that thing, but I do plan on getting the Hasbro version as well. So I'm kind of back and forth with it.
Oh yeah, I mean. It's the same thing. I mean, a lot of the Fans Project Headmaster stuff is really great. Like Code, I like that Chrome Dome, but I like the aesthetics of the Collectors Club Chrome Dome too. Even though they're totally different looking. One's not even a Headmaster, but I like that. I wouldn't get rid of one. But I get your point where if you don't have the space, obviously you kind of have to minimize it to a certain degree. And I know there's people out there that they'll get an Optimus Prime, and when there's something that fits their collection or that character, they'll get rid of that one. It's kind of a revolving door, and they'll get another one and all that type of stuff too. So, yeah, it works.
You see these guys in the comments, man? They're like,
what?
Josh is describing his split personality. He lives two lives.
There you go.
Talking about the 50 Shades of Grey thing, I guess. All right, so the last thing that we have, unless there were any other questions or topics before we ended the show, going down the rabbit hole with all these different toy lines. I think it all kind of started off for both of us, Transformers, mostly G1. Then it was like, well, Masterpiece, third party, and getting Chug, and then it was like Ninja Turtles. I'll get the vintage one, and then it was like, hey, these new Nick Turtles, I like the cartoon, and I think it's one of those things that if I didn't like the cartoon as much, I probably wouldn't have collected them, but I really like the cartoon, so I was like, let's go down that rabbit hole. Got to collect them all. Batman animated series stuff, I bought some vintage stuff, and they come out with their new series. I'm like, got to go down that rabbit hole because I want those. Star Wars Black Line, well, okay, those look really good. You know, so you keep on jumping, and right now you collect so many different things, and you're like, okay, well, this is all I'm collecting, but let's say when the mask stuff comes out, you're going to jump. You and I both are jumping down that rabbit hole too, so how do you kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, but discipline yourself whenever, you know, you're just kind of, well, there's nothing, you know, none of the stuff has come in yet, it's probably not going to be in for another week, I kind of want to buy something this week, got some money, and you're just wandering the toy aisles, and, you know, you pick something up and you just buy it, impulse buy it, and then be like, I kind of like that, let me get some more of them. How do you kind of discipline yourself when stuff like that? Because there's just so much out there, there's so much cool stuff, and just not enough money for it.
I don't discipline myself. I let the addiction take over, and my wife's like, no cart for you, no cart. I'm like, what? I'm just taking this cart, and I'll meet you in about like 15 minutes. No, I try to keep it within reason, like the turtle stuff. You know, it was hard at first, but they're not too terribly expensive. Pretty much caught up on it, so it's only like buying, you know, whatever comes out, which is usually only maybe a couple figures at most. I mean, the Mystic Turtles came out, and then we finally got, you know, we started to find the Mikey Moth-looking dude, and you know,
yeah,
Stockman.
Turtle Flyer is out, and Stockman's out. I've been looking for Karai.
So, but still, that's only like maybe 2 figures and stuff like that. It really gets terrible when I start looking at, you know, Marvel Legends figures. So when the whole set comes out, so they're $20 a pop, and you need like 5 or 6 of them, and it's like, oh man. So then I have to start thinking about, oh, should I sacrifice something? Should I get 1, maybe 2? That's when it gets really, you know, troublesome. And my wife usually pipes in saying, well, you had this in mind. I'm like, okay, yeah, because I like to buy a lot of past stuff. You know, I'm always buying the weird, obscure Transformers and G1 still, Star Wars, Turtles, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. It's unreal. My little piece of the pies are so small for each individual line, it seems like, but it's just you got to prioritize, or not go out. Sometimes my wife says, I'm going to put blinders on you so you can't see to the side of the toy aisles, and you know, you're just going to go and look with your daughter in the Barbie aisle, so you're not going to buy anything. I'm like, okay, sure. And I tell my son, tell me what you see over there. And put it in the cart. But my son was hilarious. The other day, we went into the Lego aisle, and I was like, okay, I really want to build something. And I started grabbing the Star Destroyer, whatever the Lego Star Destroyer is right there. And I was like, I looked at my wife like, wouldn't this be fun to build? You know, it could be a family event, kind of like putting a puzzle together, but this is really cooler. And she's like, well, how much is that? It's $130. She's like, no. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll put it back. And my son and I are walking down the aisle away from my mom, or from my wife and her mom and stuff. And he's like, Dad, I don't think you should listen to Mom. You should just buy it. If you want it, just buy it. You don't need to listen to Mom. And she's like, I can hear that. I'm like, if she wasn't here, son, maybe. But yeah.
Your son like picks out like which set should Daddy buy which one has the coolest minifigures, because that's all he cares about.
That's what he wanted, some of those minifigures in there. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult, but I have a set allowance, and I can't go, you know, beyond that. So it does carry over to the next allowance, but that's just how it is. It does suck for a collector that collects a lot of stuff to want all this but not be able to get it all, or at least readily like get it now. You know, you have to kind of spread it out. I mean, is that what you do? Kind of just like you want something now, but you got to spread it down the road. Like I can get that in the next month, maybe the next month after that or something.
A lot of stuff is like pre-ordered, and even some of it comes out to retail. Like the Star Wars Black Line stuff, it does hit retail. I usually get it earlier than what it is released, you know, online sites. So I go ahead and pre-order it so that I've got it locked in there.
Yeah.
But if I find it, then I can cancel the pre-order. Anything that I can't cancel the pre-order, then I'm not pre-ordering it. Because if I do find it in store, then that's the way that I'm going to go, because I don't have to pay for shipping, and there it is.
Yeah.
then with Masterpiece stuff, I want it when it comes out. And so I always gonna know, and they've done a really good job to where it's not like with new Masterpiece stuff, it's like, all right, this is coming out in September. I was like, okay, I've got some, I know when it's coming out, I know that I need to have some money set aside then, and I'm ready for it. Whenever they do these reissues with Masterpiece, that's when they're like, hey, this just popped up in stock, like they did with the Black Rodimus. Hey, this is in stock, $210. Don't have it? Here you go. Limited. I'm like, oh, crap. Let me get that. And so those things kind of hurt. But like with the Fans Toys Soar, I don't have it yet. I still want it. And, I mean, they're about to release the, I think, Snarl one as well, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And I want him as well, but it's one of those things that there's over $100 worth of Star Wars Blackline stuff coming out this month. There's Star Saber for the Batman animated stuff. There's about $100 worth there as well. I just ordered some, bunch of vintage Batman animated stuff that, it was a huge lot, so it was a really good deal, but it's expensive. There's several Ninja Turtles that I bought. So there's several different lines that I kind of get into to where I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get Soar this month. I'm not going to, because there's too much money going everywhere else. And if I always want to have a little extra money in there in case it's one of those things that, hey, here we have Tiger Track, and he's not going to be $100-something. It's at that whatever $79 original price, or it's like here he is in stock. Let me go ahead and get him. I want to have that little extra in there as well. So that's kind of how I kind of play it out. I do sell some stuff sometimes. I haven't in a while, and it's kind of hurt me collecting the G1 stuff, because I still got a lot of work to do there. And Transformers Animated. God, that's another one that I got into. I think it was Punk Wiley. That I was like, yeah, I kind of like the way some of this animated stuff looks like. Oh yeah, well, dude, I'll sell you Voyagers for whatever it was, 12, and Deluxes for $8. I got all the packaging and everything. Oh man, that's a really good deal. Yeah, I've got like whatever, 15, 20 of them. So I was like, yeah, send them all to me. So it was a really good deal. So I jumped on it. So I go down rabbit holes too often. And then there's Batman stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. I mean, not just Batman. You're looking at, for like me, there's Marvel, there's DC. Like, I want to collect those DC figures, but I'm gonna wait until that second run because I want the better quality plastic. But I want that Batmobile that's coming out. It's just every time my wife kind of looks at my collection, she's like, "Man, you collect a lot of stuff." I'm like, "Well, honey, I don't collect Hot Toys." So you got to be happy about that. So I don't collect the high price stuff. I collect a lot of other things that may equal up to Hot Toys, but they're little, they, at least I can broaden them out and everything else. So, but yeah, it's difficult. I mean, NECA, you throw that in there.
Oh yeah.
I do collect the Power Ranger stuff too, and just older Transformers too, not just with G1. I look at G2, I look at RID, I look at the Japanese stuff. I collect Beast Wars.
Oh no.
Now I'm getting into third-party stuff. I actually bought like 6 third-party stuff last week, and that's really odd for me because I don't really go that route as much. But yeah, it's weird. It's hard, but it's fun. I'm not going to deny it. I mean, it's still fun. It's whatever makes you happy and enjoyable, and that's what you like to collect. Then do it.
Yeah, it is about prioritizing. Like, I love G.I. Joe. I'd like to buy a bunch of the original stuff. I'd like to track down some of this 25th anniversary stuff because I think it looks really awesome. And buy the 30th stuff as it's coming out. But it is, even while I love that, and I love the toys as a kid, there's so much of it that it would take a huge piece of the pie, to where the Star Wars and Batman animated stuff, it takes a smaller piece of the pie, and it's kind of spread out, and it's it's new. So, that's just the direction that I had to go.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. Prioritize.
Yep. But a lot of stuff out there is really nice. I mean, Star Wars Blackline. I mean, there's so much like really cool stuff. But I have a quick question here.
Okay, and then we'll end the show after that.
Yeah. Cassie Strunk, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Is there any third-party companies besides Perfect Effect planning add-ons for Combiner Wars? I would like more ankle articulation. Prefer to get them in white for Superion.
Yes. There's, well, as far as plans, not Superion, but for Minosaur, I know like Boldform's already informed me that they're coming out with extra like hands or fist for Minosaur and also feet plate that'll have articulation and stuff like that. So that they haven't even put that up or it for pre-order or really announced it. It's basically just me telling you that I've heard it directly from them because I've been working with Bold Forms to bring you guys Lone Wolf. That they're coming out with their thing and they haven't even announced it yet. Perfect Effect, they've already come out with 2 things for Superion. There's going to be even more. I'm sure Fans Project will do some type of add-on because they really don't have a combiner in this race right now. Not yet. But we know that they've done plenty of add-ons too. So they've done a really good job with it. You also have
Crazy
Dr.
Debbie.
Wu, crazy. Well, Crazy Debbie. I mean, they're gonna be crazy expensive too.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're gonna throw their hat in the mix too. But yeah.
As we get all of them, and that's what probably a lot of them are waiting is for them to get. Right now you have Superion, and then you got a drag strip, waiting to get all the members, and then that way they can be like, okay, well if we change this, we could fill this up, and this looks better. You'll start seeing more of that as they get all 5 aerial bots, and the same thing with the Stunticons. They get all 5 Stunticons, and they'll figure out some type of add-on set, and they'll be coming out with, where Perfect Effect's coming out with 2 different sets, they'll be coming out with full sets and stuff like that. So you will see a lot of it. It's something that third-party companies seem to always do a really good job on.
Yeah. It's just waiting for the next product to come out. I mean, you're going to see add-on kits for Defensor. You're going to see add-on kits for, even Devastator when that thing comes out. It's going to be lots of stuff. It's going to be really cool to, be able to buy these Hasbro items, for a decent price, a lot cheaper than some of the third-party, not to take away from the third-party, but then get some third-party add-ons to just make it that much better. It's going to be really nice, actually. That is all the questions, I believe. So.
All right. Well, you want to go ahead and tell them about Aftercast and all the good stuff?
Sure, if I can get the Aftercast to work. Yeah, the Aftercast will be on my channel today at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So in the next couple hours, hopefully I can get it to work. But come over to that show and kind of check us out again. We'll be talking a little more in depth on what we talked about here on the Cybercast and some other topics and stuff like that. So we also have the eBay show, which will be airing this coming Thursday, March 19th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time on G1 Extron's channel. We do have some guests, and next week on the Cybercast we will have Derek J. White and Josh Perez. So that should be really cool, talking about some animated stuff and some comics and all that. And then also the following week, March 28th, we will have Omnigonics, the creator of the Spin-Out, which is their masterpiece Sunstreaker. So that's going to be awesome also. And we also have on G1 Hexatron's Facebook page, the G1 Hexatron, we have the current RID episodes streaming there. So if you want to check out the new series, go over there, give a like, check it out. And it's also courtesy of Karyudu fan subs, so also go and check out their Facebook page also, because they do a lot of great stuff in the Japanese, subbing a lot of the great shows from the Transformers community. But let's see, we also have the collection spotlight, guys. So if you guys want your collection spotlighted on the show, just email Josh at g1hexatron at gmail.com and keep your picks, between 10 to 20. No blurry pictures, and just tell us what you want to be called by your real name, alias, Twitter name, all that, and we will feature you on the Cybercast. And I think that's it. And you can find me, you can find me, Victory Saber 77, YouTube, Twitter, never changes, so it'll be obvious.
All right, and you can find me, G1 Hextron, on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and my Facebook page, the G1 Hextron. Thanks a lot for joining us today, guys. Sorry we're a little bit late. Google's done some type of update again, so
Yeah.
I'll always have problems with them. But quite a big turnout. Glad you guys were able to join. We'll see you guys on the Aftercast. Peace.
See ya.